it's crazy because when I first moved to Vegas, like we're on the 215 right now, going towards Summerlin, my first house. You came to save me first place, right?
Yeah.
Dude, this freeway didn't even exist. This was like the overflow freeway for Vegas as it got built up. Remember, I came here in 2002, and I don't know if people realize why I moved here. I always mention that I came out here because I started doing well and competing at the Olympia. I lived in Orange County, California, in a place called Aliso Viejo. So for you guys that watch this video and live in Orange County, I'm sure you guys know where Aliso Viejo is. I had a condo there that I actually bought. I bought a condo with my money from my first professional win. I won 15 grand at the Night of Champions, and I was renting a place. I moved out to California in '99 around Thanksgiving, and at the time it was Kerry and I and Scrappy, of course, and we rented an apartment. And I remember it was like total shock to me because back where we came from, like you got a good place for $500 a month, and back then, you know, the place in Aliso was like $1,400. So it was a one bedroom. So I'm like, screw this, I'm not going to waste this money on rent. I want to buy a place. I remember when I won that money after about 6 months of being there. I moved there in November of '99, and then I won the NOC in May of 2000. I won 15 grand, and I put that money down on a house, on a condo, which was like right next door, and I built up equity in that. And when I was getting, you know, more into the money, I, you know, placed second at my first Mr. Olympia. I won like 60K, and you know, I won my first Arnold, which I won, you know, 100K, and then won a Hummer truck, which I sold immediately. I came into more money, and I wanted to invest in real estate. So I was looking down towards Temecula for houses because everything in the Orange County around where I was, Newport, it was like super expensive, and I felt like, man, I'm not going to really get my money's worth out of this. Although back then I should have bought more property there because it probably would have gone up more in value, but you needed just a lot of money down then. So I came out here to visit a couple friends that were in Las Vegas. I never had a plan to move here, but you know, 9/11 happened, and I think I just won the Arnold, like around that time. I was getting ready for the Arnold, and I'm like, man, the real estate's like booming out here, but came to a halt because of 9/11, and everything was like a fire sale. Like, you're gonna get 50 or 100 grand off this. And I found a house, like a one-story house in this development, Aventura, which I ended up buying a house and building a house there. And that's kind of what led me to Vegas. I'm like, man, this is a great investment for me. So I came to Vegas, you know, and that was great at the time because at the gyms, I mean, when I was training down there was a world gym that was in Lake Forest, which we used to do a lot of photo shoots at, which was a great gym, but I kind of got burnt out on it a little bit, and I needed some change. I mean, we all get sick of doing the same workouts at the same gym. So I found a Crunch Fitness that was really quiet. It was in the Kaleidoscope Plaza. I think it's in LA Fitness now, right off the 5 freeway. So I was training there twice a day. I won the Arnold training there, and I, you know, got second my first Mr. Olympia training there. And then I started building this house in Vegas, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to move to Vegas. There's like a lot of Gold's gyms there, and I came out here and just, you know, started building a house and putting in my pool and all that, and that's why I set out 2002 Olympia as I was building up, and now, you know, here I am. But, you know, real estate's really what drove me here, and all this wasn't even done yet. All this was empty. This is all near like Tropicana area, like Flamingo on the 215. None of this was even here, and I watched it all being built. I actually shot one of my first Muscle Fitness covers up here where there was like no roads with one of my Hummer trucks that I won 3. And it's just crazy because, you know, thinking back, that was 02. Here we are in 19, and I'm like, damn, I've been here that long. I mean, it's crazy to me. But I adapted to the Vegas life very well, and I remember all my friends telling me, you're going to be back in Orange County. And listen, I love Orange County, but it's just a little slow for me there. Like, honestly, like a lot of stuff closes early, and you know, when you're doing business, that's great, because I would train at like 7:30 would be my first workout in the morning, and I'd go back and train again at 2, and I was done training by like 3:30, and I was in bed I was dead asleep by 9 o'clock at night. And that's how determined I was to work on a schedule like I had a real job, even though I was contracted. And then my career just exploded. You know, I kept doing well when I moved to Vegas, and you know, I got heavy into real estate and bought and sold a lot of properties, and I was able to build all my business here, and I still have a lot of outside business that I do. You know, I did some cultivation the last 5 years, which, you know, we're in an acquisition now. You know, I got into, you know, a lot more real estate. I got into some insurance and lean business, and just like all sorts of other outside things besides all the fitness. Now launching the new Cutler Nutrition brand, it's just really exciting for me, you know, to build like that empire, and it's really diversified. But I do miss California, and I always say, like, I spent a lot of time, everyone knows I had a condo there for a bunch of years, training at Gold's Venice. I really missed that. But man, when I was out there for the LA Fit Expo, I'm like, damn, now I know why I don't spend as much time here, because the traffic is just like, dude, I don't know how you deal with that traffic all the time.
Motorcycle.
It's true, but I'm afraid to ride a motorcycle, man. I used to ride on the coast. What is it? The one.
Yeah, the PCH.
I used to ride my Harley down there, and fuck, bro, I would, you know, because I was done training at 3, so I would get on the Harley, especially when I was dieting for the shows. I'd be like, fuck, I'm gonna take a ride right now. And, you know, Carrie would be at work, she was working as a nurse. And I would just go and cruise, and you had that open air and by the ocean, and the sun was coming down, and it's just, there's nothing better. Anyone that hasn't got a chance to rent a motorcycle and ride along PCH, I always suggest that to do, because
Dana Point, let it go.
Dude, I used to go eat there, and we used to go to dinner. And,
Huntington Beach, Newport.
Yeah, like even taking the dogs to the dog park and stuff. I mean, it's just, Vegas is awesome too. I can't talk down on Vegas, because like living out here, man, I wake up still to this day, and I'm like, man, I can't believe I live in Vegas. I mean, I just went home to Mass and got to see my family and everything, and looked where I grew up, and I'm like, man, now I know why I live in Las Vegas. Not to listen, I appreciate like where I come from, but nothing's the same now. Like this, the gym that I trained at's not the Gold's Gym anymore, and I haven't even been inside, but like a lot of gyms have changed hands. New ones open, other ones closed, and you know, trying to find food, it's not as easy. I mean, Boston Market's like my teriyaki chicken, like teriyaki boy out there, you know. We don't have that kind of stuff, so it's always a challenge, and I just appreciate what I do.
What do people say when you go back home, like the people from town?
And you know, it's funny, because I went to go visit my best friend that I went to high school with. His name is Jeremy. And, you know, we were boys. I was best man at his wedding. And he has 3 children. I sponsor their baseball team. So I went out to Rutland, which is where actually Kerry grew up. Okay, we went to school in a high school that had like 5 or 6 different towns. It was a regional school. So I went out to Rutland to see him, and I'm like, man, it brought back memories when I was out there. But I stopped at a grocery store on the way because I had to get some food. I'm like, I don't want to take the time to eat, because I knew he was on a schedule. He just got out of work and stuff. So I went in the grocery store, and this guy stopped me as I was walking out, and he's like, man, Jay, my wife is from Sterling, and we know you're from Sterling, and like, can I take a picture? And man, it's so awesome to see you here, and you know, what do you think being back here? Same questions. And I'm like, man, it's just, they appreciate it, because obviously I was a big figurehead there. What people don't know is, like, I donated a gym to the high school there where I started actually weight training. So in 2002, when I started really kicking ass, you know, I went there, and I think they had my picture on the wall there as like donated by, you know, Jay Cutler, and that's where I started. I mean, that's where I used to go in between like the basketball game, like halftime. I used to go in the gym. They'd open the door, and I would go in there, and all these people would come in to watch me bench press, because, dude, I could always do a ton of weight without even lifting weights. Like, everyone's like, let's go watch Cutler, see how much he can press. And I didn't even lift weights back then.
Wow. How old were you?
I was 16.
Wow.
And you know, I started dabbling in weights like right out of high school. Like, I got serious about it. Dude, I went right to the hardcore, you know.
Wow.
Started training and got huge, and never imagined I'd be in Las Vegas, man. This is kind of where, this area right here is actually where I shot my first Hummer. Like, with my Hummer, it's me leaning on the Hummer with the Muscle and Fitness covers, like one of these
Nice.
modes. But you know, anyone that comes to Vegas, anyone knows, like, they run into me, whatever, you know, feel free to ask me for a picture. Don't be afraid to. people keep asking about gyms out here. I mean, listen, we train at EOS today, we train at City Athletics, we train at Lift Factory, we train at Las Vegas Athletic Club, you know, all over the place. There's so many locations to train at. So if you're near the Strip, though, if you're staying at like the Wynn or the LVAC on Maryland and Karen is the closest club. Or the next step is going to be going to City Athletic Club and Jay Jung's gym over there. It's a great gym. It's quiet.
On Sahara, yeah.
On Sahara. There's an EOS that's diagonally across the street. That used to be the former Gold's Gym.
Dennis Wolf used to train there.
Yeah, of course. But there's a lot of good ones. A lot of good gyms to train at, guys. So, you know, just make sure you research where to train. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. And of course, the hotel gyms aren't so bad either. But you never know; you might run into me. And make sure you check out Teriyaki Boy too, because
of course
they have the Jay Cutler Bowl there. If you're not ordering it from MegaFit Meals, so,
awesome.
Jay Cutler Bowls all over the place. But look at this view, man! Look at this. This is awesome. This is coming down towards my house. So appreciate everyone out there. Appreciate you guys following, and you know, little tidbits for you guys that haven't followed me from day one. I am a Massachusetts guy, gone California, ended up in Las Vegas, but in heart still Massachusetts guy, but would love to be in California without the traffic.